and welcome to Time of Death. I'm your host, Dee.
And I'm your other host, Ris.
And we're bringing a lot of pep into this episode, so buckle up, guys and gals. And Ris is signaling me.
Keep your head still in front of the mic.
It's because I'm bouncing.
Stop bouncing.
I'm all over the place, and I'm ready, and I'm hype.
Oh my gosh, it's like I'm recording with a chihuahua.
I'm an applehead chihuini, FYI.
Oh my god.
So yes, I'm a little lit tonight. Not on drugs, but on life.
Oh my god. Just to clarify,
I am straight edge. So let's get into it. They're probably like, okay, unfollow.
Okay, I've heard enough.
All right. Do you want to hear about our case tonight, Riz?
I'll give a little synopsis first and then I'll let you go.
Oh yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. If you are new here, welcome and thank you for listening. We are two nurses that love to talk true crime. We like to talk about cases that feature a medical professional as the perpetrator or the victim. We like to talk about cases that have a heavy medical influence to them.
Thank you, Riz. Well said, per usual.
Thank you.
So demure.
So mindful.
So wonderful.
So smart.
So beautiful.
Bubba knows we're talking about him.
Yes, he goes, hello, what's up?
Bubba picks the perfect time to come in.
Really was the perfect time. So our case tonight is an RN who even today psychiatrists consider one of the most unusual serial killers in history. Like many serial killers, she had an unstable childhood. However, unlike most serial killers, one, she's a girl. Another meme. One, she's a girl. But she's even more unusual in that she didn't kill for financial reasons, for revenge, for a desire to control, or just have power.
Mm-hmm.
She's different.
She's built different. ...
So I'm trying to leave everyone in suspense.
We're suspended.
So, who the heck is this nurse?
Who is she? Who is it?
It's Jane Toppan.
Oh my goodness, Jolly Jane.
Yes. She was infamous for her gruesome crimes way back in the 19th century, all the way into the 20th, which doesn't sound that long ago. But between 1895 and 1901, she was wrecking havoc.
Wait. 1805 to 1901?
Okay, no, never mind. 1895.
I was going to say, wow, she had a long career.
Yeah, she's just one of those seasoned veteran nurses that just don't quit. Like Chris said, her name was Jolly Jane. And this is like a total misnomer. Nomer? She's a misnomer. Misnomer. In that...
I don't know.
She was terrifying. She's like the evil Santa Claus. And she used her position as a nurse to commit at least 12 known murders. However, went on to later confess to a whopping 31. Twisted gal. She admitted to her crimes, but along with that, also disclosed. I'm drawing this out so weird. My timing.
Oh my god.
I'm trying to create more suspense, okay?
We're waiting a long time.
Basically, she also admitted that her killing was entwined with a sick desire to kill more helpless people than anyone before her. And that there was a sexual fetish element. Freaky gal. Like,
yeah,
I'm making fun of this in a way because reading it is like so uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And when I read it out loud, I'm like, I have like jokes, but underneath that, it's really like unsettling.
It is very unsettling You know, whenever I hear, like, I guess it's primarily men that you hear that with,
Mm-hmm.
like, that they, like, derive, like, a sexual pleasure from killing. I feel like in some instances, not all killings, but there can be a more common incidence of that kind of killing.
Mm-hmm.
And so with women, it's like, you just don't hear it as much, and it's kind of unique.
Our whole story is very unusual.
And it's just that in general, when I hear, you know, I there's no good reason ever to kill, but especially that, it just makes it so much grosser.
Mm-hmm. Murder is an awful thing at baseline, but when there's a disturbing sexual element as well, and there often is, especially like you said with men.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's get into it. So we're going to talk about the dark legacy of Jolly Jane, who, again, serves a very disturbing reminder of the dangers lurking within hospitals that were designed to protect patients. So Jane Toppan was born actually as Honora Kelly. Doesn't that
like the name Honora.
It's beautiful. It's Irish.
Mm.
She was born on March 31st, 1854 in Boston, Mass. She was the daughter of Irish immigrants, and her early years were marked by as I go, marked by
tragedy.
Her early years had a lot of tragedy and instability. Her mom, Bridget Kelly, died of tuberculosis when Honora was very, very young. Her father, Peter, known for his erratic and abusive behaviors, who was nicknamed Kelly the Crack.
Oh, right. Because in Ireland, they say, oh, that's crack. Like, that's fun. Like, that sounds good.
Yes, our world traveler over here is able to give good insight.
We went to Ireland last year.
Not me.
And let me tell you.
Not me.
No.
Not we. Not the royal we.
Not the royal we. Me and Jimmy.
Aww.
We went to Ireland last year, and we heard about crack.
We heard about crack. We didn't try it though. Yeah, so that's what his nickname was, and that's very good to know the backstory of that. But he was very eccentric. He was also an alcoholic and was working as a tailor at that time. So he's supporting these kids, raising these kids after Bridget dies. And one instance, he goes on to sew his own eyelids shut.
Why?
I think there was some kind of psychosis.
There must have.
Something was just not.
Oh my! That makes my toes curl and disgust when I hear that.
Do you know that's what they do for a lot of people for funerals and the last visitations? Their eyelids are actually sewn shut.
But don't they just close if you pull the eyelids down?
They sew them. Google it.
Wow.
Mom, fact check me.
Mom, fact check.
So after Bridget, their mom, died, Peter went on to abandon his own children, the two youngest, 8-year-old Delia, and at that time, 6-year-old Honora.
Oh my God, these names are so beautiful.
They are. At the Boston Female Asylum, which was a home for destitute girls. Per the asylum records, it said that the children were rescued from a very miserable home. So if he's sewing his own eyelids shut, what is he doing to these kids? So it's speculative.
Also, if his eyelids were sewed shut, how did he get there with
How
the
did he
kids?
find his way home? Okay, guys. Thank you, Mom. I have to be a big girl and admit when I'm wrong. And Google says, contrary to popular belief, eyelids are not sewn shut after death. But they may be glued. So I don't know what's worse.
I think sewing is worse.
I don't have glue.
Because it's more like labor you have to put into sewing, and it's repeat trauma to the eyelid. It's just creepy. Gluing is bad too, I guess. They also use caps.
They also use caps, which are like thick lenses over your eyes that keep your eyes from appearing sunken after death.
That's creepy.
So it's speculated that Peter was probably abusive to the girls. There's very little documentation about what their lives were like at the asylum, but eventually the older daughter, Delia, so Honora's older sister, became a prostitute, and their eldest sister, Nellie, who hadn't been surrendered to the asylum, eventually wound up in a mental institution.
Wow.
So these poor girls. November 1862, 2 years after being left by her dad, Honora was placed as an indentured servant in the home of Miss Anne Toppan in Lowell, Massachusetts. Although Jane was not formally adopted, she took on their last name and became known as Jane Toppan. Mm-hmm. Now, the reason they did not keep the beautiful name Honora is that Irish people at that time, and Honora is a very Irish name, it was not good to be Irish. Mm-hmm. So they passed her off as an Italian girl whose parents had died at sea. So complete lie. And they wanted to kind of distance her from her heritage because, again, the Irish people were very, it was a stigma at that time.
So where was this family's house? Is this in England?
Lowell, Massachusetts.
Oh.
England?
It is England.
It's just England.
Sounds like England.
Sounds like those freaking English. So Jane, again, much less Irish than Honora. So she went on to
but not very Italian sounding.
Agina.
My name is
Banana. Agina. What would be the Italian version of Jane? Let's ask our resident
Johnny.
Gianni. Gianna. Giovanna.
How do you spell Giovanna? Oh, Giovanna.
Giovanna.
Isn't that Giovanna?
Anyways, what? Our girl JJ.
Hold on, let mom. Giovanna.
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 Giovanna. Giovanna.
Jane. Let's see the Italian version. Giovanna. Yeah, I don't think there's an Italian version of Jane.
They could call her Maria.
Maria. Why didn't they say Maria or
Teresa?
Rosa.
Sophia.
Sophia Petrello.
Dorothy, Spornak. I forgot. Damn, Dorothy Spornak. Regardless of the lies, she had a really good relationship with the Toppans at that time, especially their own biological daughter, Elizabeth. However, even as a child, Jane had some really unsettling traits. The beginnings of a sociopath. She would tell outrageous lies, like her dad was sailing around the world, her sister was married to an English nobleman, her brother was a decorated soldier at Gettysburg by President Abraham Lincoln. So some really out there stuff. By 1885, Jane had begun her nursing training at Cambridge Hospital. She was well liked and known for her bright, cheery demeanor. Earning the nickname, like Ris said,
Jolly Jane.
Oh, say it again.
Jolly Jane.
One more time.
Jolly Jane.
Holly Jolly Jane.
Holly Jolly Jane. Holly Jolly Polly Jane.
JJ. Giovanna.
Giovanna.
She was a big gossip and actually really looked forward to other students failing especially when she didn't like them. The outrageous lying continued, and she claimed that the Tsar of Russia had offered her a nursing job.
Interesting.
She also stole from her classmates, and many of the students began to really hate Jolly. Beneath her friendly, fake-ass facade, darkness loomed. I put so much thought into that sentence. Just want to make sure
Darkness loomed.
She became very close with her patients, especially when they were elderly and gravely ill. Red flag.
Good target. That's what she's thinking.
And used them as subjects for disturbing experiments. During the experiments, she tampered with morphine and atropine dosages to observe what the effect would be on their patients' nervous systems. She would go on to manipulate their records and just kind of administer drugs as she liked to bring them to unconsciousness, and went on to share beds with her patients.
That's too much.
Too much, Jolly Jane. Too much. One patient named Amanda. Oh, God, I'm tired. Amelia. Amelia Finney was at that hospital in 1887 while Jolly Jane was working. She had surgery, and afterwards, Jane was her nurse, gave her a dose of bitter tasting medicine, and she fell asleep. She recalled waking up to Jane climbing in her bed and kissing Amelia all over her face. But something startled Jane, so she stopped. The next morning, Amelia thought, okay, that's just too weird. It had to have been a dream.
Yeah.
But 14 years later, when Jane was arrested, Amelia realized it was real.
Yeah. And that's assault. That is
absolutely assault.
That is very disturbing.
It's very disturbing.
As a nurse, you're supposed to protect the people that you take care of. That's just very wrong.
And you don't touch your patients.
No.
I don't touch my patients.
Never mind get in the bed and kiss them. Like, that's crazy.
It is, especially when they're like, I mean, in all situations, I can't think of a situation that would even, like, in all situations, it would be awful.
Yeah.
So, in 1889, Jane got a position at the prestigious Mass Gen, which is Mass General Hospital. There, she continued to experiment on her patients and killed several patients, aka claimed victims, before being fired in 1890. She returned to Cambridge for a short time after she was fired. She had been fired from Cambridge for recklessly giving out opiates like candy to her patients. After being fired, she started a career as a private nurse where she did really well and made a lot of money, as a lot of the doctors that she worked with actually went on to refer patients to her, considering her one of the best nurses that they had worked with, which is also very disturbing. So her MO was to poison people. And her poisoning spree really took off in 1895 after she murdered her landlord, Israel Dunham, and his wife.
Was he a patient?
No.
Were they patients?
No.
Oh, so these were just murders outside of her
She was living
occupation.
with them. Yeah. 4 years later, Jane had gone on to kill her own foster sister, Elizabeth, using strychnine.
Wait, wasn't that the one that she was super close with?
Yep. She's a sociopath. She's not really close to anyone.
Speak in the microphone.
But she's a sociopath, so she doesn't really give a shit about anyone. And after poisoning Elizabeth, she attempted to seduce Elizabeth's grieving husband. She, claimed she was pregnant, and it became a whole thing, and he said, drag lady. In 1901, she moved in with the elderly man, Eldon Davis, to care for him after his wife, Maddie, had passed away. And the reason that she had passed away is because Jane had murdered her.
My goodness.
Over the next few weeks, she went on to kill Alden, his sister Edna, and 2 of his daughters, Minnie and Genevieve. So wiped out a whole family.
Wow.
The surviving members of the family suspected foul play and requested toxicology examination of Minnie, one of the daughters. And the investigation revealed that she had died of morphine and atropine poisoning.
I wonder who has access to those.
Mm-hmm. So authorities were watching Jane 24/7, and that led to her murder. Oh, that led to her murder. That led to her arrest for murder on October 29th, 1901. By 1902, Jane had confessed to 31 murders. She claimed that she started killing because a boyfriend had dumped her when she was 16.
Oh, goodness gracious.
An office worker from Lowell, Mass. had given her a promise ring, but moved to Holyoke, Massachusetts, and fell in love with someone else. Quote, "If I had been a married woman, I probably would not have killed all of those people. I would have had my husband, my children, and my home to take up my mind." So that was a crazy plot twist that she would pin this all on this poor bloke that probably wisened up and got the heck up out of Dodge.
Well, just shifting the blame. It's like, oh no, it's not little old me, little old Jolly Jane. It's my, could be
Fiancé.
husband or could be fiance.
Mm-hmm. During her trial, the New York Journal published what claimed to be Jane's confession, alleging that she had killed more than 31 people and desired to be declared sane to eventually get free. Despite her insisting that she was sane, Jane was declared insane by the courts. On June 23rd, 1902, she was found not guilty by reason of insanity and committed for life at the Taunton Insane Hospital. She died there on August 17th, 1938, at the age of 84. So she lived a long life.
Wow.
After her arrest, an article in the newspaper revealed disturbing details about her crime. It was reported that Jane would fondle her victims as they were dying and gaze into their eyes, attempting to witness, quote, the inner workings of their souls.
Ew.
Yep. Despite questioning, she confessed. During questioning, she confessed to deriving a sexual thrill from watching her patients teeter between life and death, experiencing moments of revival just so that they could die. Jane would administer a lethal drug mixture, again, morphine and atropine, to her chosen victim, hold them close, and lay down with them as they passed away. So some people will say, oh, well, maybe she was an angel of mercy, which is a term for a lot of killers who are caretakers and prey on vulnerable and dependent people. However, she does not fit this in that her motivation was not solely to help put people out of pain. In the case of the Davis family, where she, again, wiped out an entire freaking family, her murders were fueled by personal reasons.
They're selfish.
Exactly. She was also very jealous of her foster sister, who she had killed as well. Jane herself later described her motivation as a paralysis of thought and reason, driven by an overwhelming urge to poison. So this is just a bad freaking person.
Yeah.
There's really no redeeming qualities about Jane Toppan. And there was a play that was based off of her that was really interesting. I think it was Rotten Seed.
Bad Seed?
Bad Seed.
I don't know, but I think I've heard of this. Are you sure it's that one, though?
Yeah, I'm absolutely sure. Bad Seed is about a young girl who is a sociopath. And the mom, comes to terms with that because she is the daughter of a like world famous female serial killer. So she thinks it's like very much nature versus nurture.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting because, you know, Jane did really horrible things, and she really sparked the conversation of, is she a product of her environment or genetics?
Mm. So wait, is this play about her?
No, but she's the inspiration for the serial killer. But the serial killer actually has passed away at this point, but she was the mother of the child who is evil. So it's just an interesting conundrum how, like, the bad seed or the apple does not fall far from the tree. It's like a interesting way of looking at things.
Oh, it's like that trait follows their family.
Yeah, because when you look at it, the father was abusive. You know, he obviously was not sound of mind if he's sewing his eyes shut.
Yeah.
So, like, at what point is she a product of her environment versus just dealing with the genetic lot that she got? Do you think people are inherently bad or inherently good? Like, what is your thoughts on morality? Let's put it out there.
Okay, go for it, Mom.
I think everyone has good and bad. And I think that it depends on what you feed yourself or your self-thinking. You know, the way you feel about who you are affects how you present yourself. And if you are raised in an environment and you have examples of what's good and what's not good, I think it impacts how and who you become.
I agree with that, Mom.
Well said, Mom. Ris, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think people are inherently good. And I do think, you know, nurture plays a huge role in shaping them, though. Like, I think people come out and they're like, I think innately, like, people have, like, a desire to take care of themselves above all else when they're born. But I think, like, there's also a large part of them that's very compassionate towards other people or other living things. And I think that is either it's balanced by nurture. Does that make sense? Like, I think if that compassion and, you know, those good traits are nourished, then people are become better. But if they're not, then they become bad.
That's
or worse.
Interesting way of looking at it. I think that your sentiments
I also might be sleep deprived. So I don't know how good that came. I couldn't tell you what I just said.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I think that was too much for us to get into this late in the evening.
It's okay. That's a talk for another night, guys.
It is a talk for another night.
What do you think?
Me?
Yeah.
I agree with you for the most part. I think people are inherently good. I think that most, if not all, people, even like Jane Toppan, like, we're just reading about her. We don't know her. You know, I'm sure that she has, I don't know, redeeming qualities is the right word, but I'm sure that she had done good things in her life as well. Was the intent behind them to be good? Maybe not. But it could still impact other people in a positive way.
Yes, Mom.
I do want to add something too. I think when babies are brought into the world, they're innately interested in taking care of themselves and getting their needs satisfied. But And if they are satisfied and they're well taken care of and felt love and felt embracing and being cared for and someone being interested in them, I think it opens that baby's perspective and teaches them to give those qualities back to other people. But I think it's really important for us to take care of our little children in the world and make sure that they have a good foundation so that they can become all they can become.
Very well said. Thank you. All right, call it.
Okay, I'm going to call it. The time is 21:28, and that is the time of death. That is 9:20. 9:28 p.m. for those of you who do not need to know military time.
All right, thank you, boys and girls, and theys and thems. Thanks for tuning in. I hope everyone has a good night. Stay safe, stay warm now that it's officially autumn.
Is it though?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Mom, is it?
Yes, it is.
Mom says no.
Yes, it is. No, it's autumn. It's autumn. I don't want to hear nothing.
It's still summer.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's autumn.
All right. Thanks, Dee.
Thank you all. Have a great night. Be safe.
Bye.
Bye.
If you're listening to this is going to be 2 days late, but that's fine.
It's fine. Bye-bye.
Bye. If you like this episode, feel free to listen to our other episodes, or rate us, review us,
Tell your mom.
give us feedback, tell your
dad.
mother, father, sister, brother,
sister,
friend,
cat,
partner,
dog.
hamster.
All right, good
Just
night,
share
everyone.
it.
Good night,
Just share it. Good night.
Bye. Spread the word. Bye-bye.
Bye.